You're listening to Psychomusiclyricology podcast. I am Sheldon Moss, along with the dude that is always secure about his opinion, Michael Nelson.
What up?
And the professor, Maurice Moss.
What's up?
Before we get started, go right now and subscribe to Psychomusiclyricology, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also, we have a Facebook group, Psychomusiclyricology Podcast Fam. Join the group, share all things music, and have discussions with lovers of music. What's up, fellas?
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Is this some kind of delay or something? Because, we're doing this Zoom thing right now.
I think there's a delay that comes
echo
along with it.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me something, man, because you got me tripping.
I think that's part of that echo. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, for the people that are listening, this is our first time doing a Zoom since we are all under quarantine.
Can't call it a new normal. I'm calling it a temporary normal because I can't live with this being normal.
Well, what's funny about this is that it's hard for me to stay in the house.
Yeah, man. You got some kind of issues.
It's rough, man. I got to go to the backyard. It's my outing. But needless to say, though, man.
Better safe than sorry.
Right on, man. But hey, man, since this is our first Zoom, we have a guest hanging out with us. He is a Dallas, Texas native, and he boasts the name The Fashion Plate. He is a host and actor producer that currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia. The Fashion Plate presently is the host of the ATL Profile, an entertainment show that gives you a creative look into the Hollywood of the South. With print modeling, television, commercials, and hosting his own television and radio show, Odyssey, 4 hours with the Fashion Plate. On his resume, he can be seen making his mark in the entertainment world with personality and panache. He has made appearances in Tyler Perry's House of Pain on TBS, Fatal Attraction on TV One, and the movie Level Aside, Marsai Martin, Regina Hall, and Issa. We would like to welcome to Psychomusiclyricology, Mr. Christopher Martin, The Fashion Plate.
Yes,
what's up with it, man?
What's up, Chris?
Welcome to the show, brother.
No, thank you.
Finger snaps.
Thank you, and glad to be here. Damn, I didn't know I did that much stuff.
Say, man, you have a resume out of this world.
You left out a few things too. You got get it together.
we have a we have a list of your credentials here, which is just so much so much you got going on.
It's
man.
extensive.
So I'm like, wow.
We had to cut some of it off. It was too much work to read all that.
Well, yeah, man, I've been fortunate, been lucky, and been blessed. Let me tell you. A lot of hard work in there, too. Make no doubt about it. Yeah,
man. But, we normally start the show like what we kind of been listening to of music of what got going on. But, since I know that you have been a DJ in your lifetime, so what I'm just going to ask you, what type of music what do you really get into when it comes to music, or you just run the gamut on a little bit of everything?
I run the gambit on a little bit of everything. True enough, to shout out to Psychomusiclyricology. Glad to be here. Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Maurice. And to answer your first question, here in this quarantine period, I was raised in the 80s, so 80s music, is what I'm listening to a lot right now. And one of the main reasons I love 80s music is because you can almost picture every song, whether it's R&B, hip hop, if you like new wave or pop, whatever, the song had a video. So it just, you connect with the songs really good. So I've been listening to some 80s Michael Jackson. I mean, I listen to Michael Jackson every day, all day. You know what I mean? But also Cameo, I love from the 80s, all that 80s R&B. Sky, some Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie Wonder 80s. And then when I get off the beaten path a little bit, I ain't gonna lie, I like Madonna, Duran Duran, Prince, all those types, you know, Too Shy Shy, all the popular stuff. So in this time, a lot of 80s music is what I've been rocking.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
You found your tribe.
Huh?
Yeah, I like all of that.
Yeah, and then of course like the rap LL, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, like all that, you know. And EPMD, just the 80s cavalcade of music, man. Because you can just play it. I know all the lyrics. It takes me back to a great time.
Yeah, man, it's funny because Michael and Maurice, Chris and I have a friend from high school. You know, he has his nickname that she calls him. She calls him Christopher Tracy.
Like sometimes it snows in April.
Yeah.
Of course, Prince, listen to him too, without a shadow of a doubt. Christopher Tracy, Alexander, Nevermind.
What's up, Maurice, man? I know you got something going on. I know you've been listening to something, you know.
I mean, a lot of good stuff came out while we were on lockdown and holidays. I don't even remember the last time we did a show, but the one thing that I've been listening to this particular week is the Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
He had an album that I don't know that it's an actual, that's what he's calling it. It's just, I don't think it has a title or anything. You just go to it and the songs have numbers. And some of it is like stuff from last year or 2 years ago. So I think he's kind of like putting a lot of different music together.
Nice.
But everything on it sounds really good.
Yeah,
I gotta go check that out.
Yeah, man. What about you, Michael?
You know, I haven't really been listening to anything in particular because I got involved with those. I've been getting involved with the quarantine parties. So
It's been nice,
I've
man.
been listening to
jamming.
Yeah, man. I've been listening to. I've been listening to D Nice, and then you know I'm a Questlove disciple, so I've been listening to a lot of stuff he's been doing, and after I listen to each one of those DJs for a couple of hours, I go and grab my stuff and start trying to DJ a little bit to give me some practice in, some work in. It's been inspirational. So, but I haven't really, I can't remember the last good thing I've listened to in a while, or new thing I've listened to in a while. You know, we've been stuck here, so the turntables have been going. You can see my records behind me.
Nice.
Just
Vinyl.
Every couple of days, I reach and grab a record and put it on and just listen to it. So nothing in particular, man. I've just been having a good time listening to the DJs. Shout out to the quarantine parties.
Right on. Well, you know me, man. I'm all about the documentaries. So, you know, I found out that I have Amazon Prime Video while we in this quarantine thing going on. I said, hey, Nicole, what's that password? And voila, Amazon Prime Video magically appeared on my
You didn't know
tablet.
you had it before?
I had no idea.
You missing out on some good stuff, man. They got some good stuff.
Say, man, you know, I actually found a documentary that I had been wanting to check out. My man, Marcus Miller.
Oh.
He has a documentary, man. And
really?
the bass player,
Okay.
Yeah, man. So as I'm looking at it, I did not realize he was 26 years old when he produced Tutu for Miles Davis.
Yeah.
At the time.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, man.
Never knew that.
And so, and I remember an album coming out back in 2011 called Tutu Revisited, because he never did any of the music live when Miles toured that album. So he did a Tutu Revisited album, man, and I actually went back, made me go back and listen to the original Tutu. Then I went and listened to Tutu Revisited. Say, man, he got Kristen Scott on here and this cat named Alex Hahn on saxophone.
Yeah.
And it's a tight band, man. Y'all need to watch this documentary and go check that album out.
I'm gonna check that out.
No, it is right on point.
Was Christian Scott the only trumpet player? Was Christian Scott the only trumpet player? Okay.
Yes, yeah. He's actually featured.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
You know, and I do want to say this though. Speaking of trumpet players, Wallace Rooney was a Miles Davis disciple, and he just recently passed due to this COVID-19. And I want to shout out also.
Oh yeah, he was fairly young, wasn't he?
family too.
Now that you brought that up, yeah, he's Wallace couldn't have been more than 55.
Yeah,
59. He might have been. He's still in his 50s for sure. And then Ellis Marsalis, man. You know,
yeah, man.
yeah, granddaddy teacher in New Orleans. Almost everybody went through Ellis at some point.
Yeah, he birthed the
shout out
band.
Marsalis family. Yeah,
there you go.
He birthed the band. Right. Yeah. Shout out to their families, man, and all the other people who are having issues, but Wallace and Ellis, want to shout them out. Rest in peace to you. God bless your families.
Right on.
Yeah, man. But I'm ready to get into the fashion plate right now. Because this brother was just recently in town for a play called Here Comes the Sun in Fort Worth, Texas, that was shut down by COVID-19.
Yeah,
you got one day in, man. So how was it when you first got here?
We actually got 2 days into the play. But when I got here, it was great to be home. Born in Dallas, Texas, raised primarily there, and graduated from high school, Duncanville High School. Hadn't been home since our 25th high school reunion. I graduated in 1987, so that was 2012. So I hadn't been home.
It been that long?
Been that long, man. 8 years goes fast. I had been saying, like everybody, I'll be through there, or had planned some time and career or something, through those 8 years. But to get to what you were saying, the play Here Comes the Sun, written, produced, the creative brainchild of a great guy named Ted Johnson here in Atlanta, a criminal attorney, but found his way, 7-8 years ago. He'd pinpoint it more if he told his own story, but somewhere around there, got into writing and producing TV plays from his own exploits as a lawyer. Into him, and I actually, before I got to Here Comes the Sun, I'm the lead in another play that he wrote, and we did it around Atlanta, and it went to New York, but I didn't go for that trip. Is In 3 Days. So, and also did another pilot, Atlanta Law. I was a character in that. So feel fortunate that he thought of me for Here Comes the Sun as one of the main characters. And we got booked for a 3-city tour in March and April with Fort Worth, where you were just talking about being the first stop on the tour.
Right.
At Artes de la Rosa in Fort Worth, Texas. Shout out to those great people who booked us as one of the 3 cities. We were supposed to be in Houston. As a matter of fact, traveled today. We're supposed to be there because of COVID-19. And then Austin later here in April. So all that's been put on postponement. But got to Fort Worth back in March, about a month ago. On a Wednesday, we did the first show on Thursday, did the next show on Friday, and before we went out Friday, this was when Tom Hanks revealed that he had it, and it kind of really kicked off the fervor when he came out with it. And, people start, turn their head like, wait a minute, hold on, and then stuff starts shutting down, even though the president, whatever, shut it down when he did. But, it took on a different light a little bit, I think. When Tom Hanks revealed he had it, and that was all when we were in town. But we did 2 great shows. It was a great time for me to be home. It's a really touching play that deals with 4, actually 5, but 4 main guys who have post-traumatic stress disorder and live in a home, and their landlord, the 5th guy, has his own issues. And the main character, the star of the play, Nia Davis, a great actress in her own right, is the son. Her character, Ruth, Here Comes the Sun. She comes and throughout the play helps each guy deal with what they're going through.
Right.
And how the play evolves. Man, a great play based on some true stories. We've done it twice. Wait a minute. Twice in Atlanta. We went to Washington, D.C. last summer for their theater and arts festival, which was just amazing to be up there. Like a weekend of just plays and spoken word and just some deep, positive stuff. And then based on that, there were some people who were up there from Texas, and Ted parlayed it into this 3-city tour. Again, unfortunate COVID-19 knocked us off, but still very fortunate and very proud that did happen, and hopefully get back to it when all this clears up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, because it was just I was just glad to see, we chopped it up and had us a nice little old time,
Right.
So hey, I'm gonna leave that over there at the country club.
Well, I just want to say, we definitely kicked it. I said that in my Facebook and Instagram. Now we coming for the play, but we also coming to play. The ball.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man, I just want to start out with get into, when I met you, you were a football jock trying to make your way to and going to Friendship West Baptist Church, trying to act a little bit. So, so how did this jock, acting, personality, all this come? Because all I know is the jock and the dude that got best dressed at Duncanville High School. That's all I know.
Well, it's always hard to talk about myself, but it started. It started back at Duncanville High School. Very a part of it. Duncanville High School, where I was a football jock, and that's where my love for clothes came. Again, like you just mentioned, my senior year voted best dressed in our senior class, and would go take that to college, and I'll get to that, and that's where the fashion plate came, and I picked it up years later and dusted it off and used it again. But yeah, was fortunate to play for the Duncanville Panthers. Went to Friendship West Baptist Church growing up with Maurice and his family. Shout out to the Moss family. Mom was a usher, dad a deacon. You know what I'm saying? Stalwarts in the church. Remember it like it was yesterday. Being in a play. We dressed up like Romans. We had the costume.
I do remember that.
We presented. Yeah,
I do remember that.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it had to do with Roman, Jesus,
the
whole thing, and so we were very involved back. Like we didn't go to school together, but we saw each other every Sunday, and then that was tight. And as we grew up through high school, like I said, Duncanville football jock, was able to get a scholarship to Kansas State University out of Duncanville my senior year. And was a good thing, a bad thing. Once they unleashed me on the state, the city of Manhattan, Kansas, away from my parents, like I said, a lot of good and a lot of bad habits were developed there. But what I was able to do in the 3.5 years I was there, and found out some rules about the NCAA. If you don't stay eligible, if you don't have your grades, they'll ask you to leave. But one of the great things about it was I found radio, TV, mass communications, and all of that stuff. That I wanted to go be a lawyer when I left, and graduated from high school in '87. I wanted to be a lawyer all my life. Went there the first semester in the fall of 1987. At K-State, took political science and flunked that, didn't go, couldn't stand it, all that. Herefore, unto, therefore, just the language and everything. I was like,
word, been there. Word.
Like, why can't you just say he stole the shit? Like, what is all this?
Right.
Right. It didn't get on my system, and dollar pictures, football jock. You don't care if you second team, third team, they love you. Like, this is the life. And, so my second semester in the spring of 1988, I came home, not a lot of people will know this, but they will now. Came home with like a 1.1 GPA. Coach told me, like, I don't know what you're doing, but you won't be here long.
1.1.
Yeah, 1.1. I passed football, and sociology with the D, and that was because I wrote like a 500 word. Everything else, political science, whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. Like, and a lot of that was, you know, in high school, you know, you pay attention, I could retain stuff, but I found out in college, if you don't go to class, ain't no way you gonna pass. Like, you don't go for like a month, you show up for a midterm, like, God damn, I don't know nothing. Like, bro, no, I think not nothing. You just like, bubble, 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 bubble. I'm going
Not the bubble with the Scantron. No.
Yeah.
Bubble, bubble, bubble. You know how you be like A, C, D, B, another A, D. You like trying to think like, I know there's a pattern. Man, I'm gonna come back with a 19%. Like, yeah, the guessing bubble game ain't gonna get you through. Anyway, to get back on point.
Yeah.
So I found when I went in for end of the season meetings, like my freshman year, first semester, coach ripped me a new one. Like, you got to find something. He told me straight out, Martin, you got to find something you can pass. Forget about any graduation aspirations. Find some stuff you can pass to get your GPA up. So I came back home, Dallas, kicked it, came back. You know what I'm saying? You know, football players, we came back, you know, early. We had to start off season, found all that out. And I remember sitting we had the academic offices and, you know, all the stuff, you know, we get all that done, football players. I mean, it was just boom, 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 boom. So academic advisors, and I'm looking through the registrar, and I got to the School of Journalism. And I was like TV1 and reading it, theater, improv. Well, I could pass this. You know what I mean? Like, all I got. I never will forget, and I've told the story, in the spring of 1988, I took Theater 1, Improv 1, Intro to Mass Communication, and found what I was supposed to do in life. Now, I didn't graduate from Georgia State, but got into the DJ. You know, I was a campus DJ, you know, found out about camcorders. Like, and what happened was I was able to get to all those classes, like the biology and the algebra and all that. We were still D and F'ing that up and coming to summer school.
Yeah.
All that stuff, that arts and entertainment stuff. And when I finally asked me to, you know, leave K-State, you know, scholarship or whatever in football, by that time, shoulder injury, had a groin that was nagging. You know, I played second string, you know, played, you know, letter, you know, was a guy on the team. I'm not going to overstate my college career, but I played in the Big Eight, you know, against, you know, the Oklahomas with Charles Thompson and Stafford, and Bosworth was a senior when I was a freshman. Played against Barry Sanders, you know, Devin Jones out of Dublin.
Yeah.
Played Keaton Smiley when he was at Iowa, traveled, playing Superdome. So it was a great experience. And what I tell people about college is, even though, and I ended up going back later in my 40s and got my degree down here in Georgia and got it in psychology. So I went back and finished. But I tell people, like, it is true what your parents say. What older they'll say, like, you can go to college and find yourself. Yeah, the goal is to graduate, but I found what I was looking for. And, you know, being on the campus radio station, and, you know, having tapes and all that. I came home for a semester in Dallas, whatever that was, like 90, whatever that was, December of 90. No, I know what it was, in the spring of 91. You know, they asked me to leave. Came home, went back to Kansas State. Hey, came home for like 6 months. Wild, you know, get out of Dallas. You ain't doing no good. Went back to Kansas State. And I went to Manhattan, was staying with some football players. I'm not even in school, but I still had old K-State ideas, guys. I'm going in, you know what I mean? And there were some TV stations in Kansas City. I knew in radio stations, I knew with what I had done and all I did because I was on the radio station every Sunday from like 10 to 2. So I had plenty of tapes and stuff. So I just acted like a student so I could get everything I needed, put in a tape and resume, living on a teammate's couch from when I was there, and about 2 months later, I had a job at K6KZ TV6 as a floor director and a cameraman for the nightly news. 5 months later, the sports director leaves. At 20, almost 21, I'm the sports anchor every night doing the nightly news and all that. That was great, and things went on. More problems ensued. There's a lot of money came in, you know what I mean? And, when you're young, and I talk to people, too, about success, when you land a great job, a professional athlete, these young guys who fall into a lot of money, and I wasn't no millionaire, that's not what I'm saying, but when you're 20 years old and you making 60, 70,000, you ain't got no kids, you ain't got no,
right.
You got an apartment.
That's a good job.
Yeah.
Right, that's a lot of money, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
21 and you get a job right out of college at $170,000 for some fortune. That's a lot of money for a single person, at least a single man, to have. So good time, bad times, wild times, lessons learned, but was really glad to get the scholarship where all this started and get in college to learn and figure out some stuff and what I wanted to do in life. Yeah.
So Chris, after you did the DJing thing, you added several titles to your whole list of skill sets from that whole jumping off point of DJ. You went to TV hosting, acting, being an event MC, doing red carpet events, and then the lifestyle model. So talk about how did all of that jump off from the radio thing?
So when I'm on the TV every night, like Dallas news that comes on at 5 and 6. I was at K6KZ TV6, and I was there for 2 years before the big head. As I learned what to do, this is where I find out about press passes and getting into Kansas City Royals games, Chiefs games. I'm doing play-by-play for Junction City High School. So celebrity and all that stuff's beginning to grow. Well, I get the big head. You can't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Eventually, I bumped heads with the general manager there. And that time, a little before all this, and at that point, I'm like, man, I'm too big for Junction City, Kansas. Anyway. So when you came back, I made this station. If it wasn't for Christmas Park, y'all wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? That kind of attitude.
You was Rick James up in there.
Right. I'm Chris Martin, batch. I'm the one. Yeah. So young and wild, brash, 25, 26. So, get on his nerves and we parked ways. But again, on the news every night. You know what I mean? Got video, play-by-play. I'm learning everything I can, editing. So I've got a foundation. I've got a wherewithal of information. I know what I am. I know what I am, even though I'm cocky with this guy. So my parents had left Dallas and moved to St. Louis. So I'm telling my dad what's going on and keep it real with him. Like, I've done stuff my toe. You know what I mean? I'm leaving, asked to leave, da-da-da. He's like, why don't you come over to St. Louis? He was a golf pro at Forest Park Golf Course, and he was giving lessons to the general manager of Magic 108 FM, AM 1600, one of the biggest radio stations in St. Louis. So he's like, just come over, I know you, get yourself together, blah, 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 blah. Not that I'm in trouble or nothing, but just come on over here. See what's up with Chuck. You put your resume in, this, that, and the third. So all of that, I moved to St. Louis, and all of that happens, I guess. Get there. I'm working with my dad at the golf course. He gives me a job, putting resumes in. Did some work for a sports network, SNI, like some editing of tapes, whatever. So I finally meet Chuck. Sure enough, Chuck likes me. I started AM 1600, doing weekend stuff. Coming in on AM radio, they got talk shows, and I do the voiceover. Welcome to AM 16, or you're here at AM 1600, so and so and so and so. The weather for so and so. The temperature. Make sure you catch AM 1600. Blah 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 blah. Doing voiceover like that. putting in the shows. I'm not on air. He knows. He sees the tape. I still have stuff from K-State, and I got the stuff from on TV, so he knows. But there's just no slot for me. But I'm just glad to be in where I fit in. So finally, I get on 2 to 6 in the morning, the Ballad and the Beat of Love, after being there like 5-6 months. And that, Maurice, is where, to answer your question and get to it, where, you know, I was Boy Wonder. And I got that tattooed on my arm.
Check you out.
It's me as a superhero. That was my nickname, Street Man. You know what I mean? So Boy Wonder, and it was Late Night Thunder with Boy Wonder, 2 to 6 in the morning, the Beauty and the Beat of Love. It was a slow thunderstorm meets music, you know what I mean? Slow Beauty and the Beat of Love. So, and that's where I started doing live, you know, remotes. You know, the Boy Wonder is going to be at Burger King over on Kings Highway from 1 to 3. So that right there, live event hosting. And from there, I mean, people see you and it's like, hey, man, have you ever, or could you host my so-and-so show? Can you do this party for me? So that's where that kicked off in St. Louis. Very lucrative. You know, again, I'm on the radio, so now I got presence. Getting into spots, that's where, you know, like movie premieres, you know, coming asking the questions. Hey, Christopher Martin out here from Magic 108 FM. We're at the premiere of, you know, whatever the movie was, you know, pictures. And that's when you're taking, you know, hard pictures.
Pictures. Got to get them developed.
You're giving them to them, and they're putting them at a website or putting them, you know, wherever they did back in the day, as this is coming in the late 90s and whatnot. So that's where the live hosting and a really shaping of an image of a lifestyle specialist of the, you know, a brand, even though it wasn't called that, you know what I mean? And was able, you know, to use that for good, for bad, for indifferent, but climbing the ladder, you know, meeting people. You know, back then, you know, Nelly came onto the scene, so was hanging out with him. That's for Marshall Falk, The Greatest Show on Turf, Chingy coming out, you know, Vocal. Like, it was just a great time to be in St. Louis when Nelly, when Nelly did the premiere for The Longest Yard. One of the best days of my life.
So you got paid there, huh?
He turns up. I mean, he paid everything. There was drinks all up and down the street in Delmar Boulevard. I'm like, they're just like bringing stuff. You going from one place to Burt Reynolds, everybody. It was at the tip, crazy. So I really was able to, again, man, follow.
Chris, you wasn't doing no tip drill. Chris, you wasn't doing no tip drills back then, were you?
I was hoping we was gonna get to the whole St. Louis thing without the whole tip drill.
St. Louis is on.
You can't talk about St. Louis without talking about a tip drill.
Right. It was wild. Mono, y'all remember the dance? It was crazy. It's crazy. That was one of the best times, and I don't know if St. Louis has ever recovered, but Nelly really showed a lot of love. But again,
so you went from events. You go from radio to events, and then what? Film or television? Or
so great question, Maurice. And this is where the talent agency and the acting comes in. Been at Magic 108 couple years, and I'm doing an event. And then, you know, at this time, you know, they're urban, so they've got mixed events. You know, they're in the community for everything. And this white lady walks up to me. And, you know, I'm one of the guys on stage doing this event. We were doing it at Forest Park, something for the park, and Magic 108 was there. You know, like Forest Park Forever, they're planting trees, some DS, dude. I can't remember now, but something like that. But something civic, my bad. So I'm there. Clean that up. Edit that out. Civic. So, lady walks up to me, Joni Tackett, and was like, "Are you with an agency?" I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Are you with a talent agency here in town?" I was like, "No, I'm not." But she's like, "Do you even know what I'm like?" And she could see, like, "Do you even know what I'm talking about?" I was like, "Yeah, you guys you know, represent talent. She's like, you know, no, you know, she kind of looked at me like, okay, dude. But, you know, talent agency represent people who act, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, have you ever acted? I was like, you know, I did some plays, you know, I did some stuff back in college. I said, but no, I never, blah, 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 blah. She was like, you know, you do commercials, you know, I said, done voiceovers, you know, for radio, all that stuff. We was like, asked me, you got headshots? And I was like, man, I don't have any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Just really don't have it. But I see where you're going. But anyway, she was with Delcia Talent Agency, signed me, and put me on that road, you know, of acting, commercial, all of that, modeling, all that. That's where I got. She was the one who taught me how to get headshots, proper, you know, pictures for a portfolio. I owe a lot to Joni Tackett. She's a casting director right now in the Midwest. Talked to her some years back, but
you never actually like moved to any other coast. You just got with the talent agency, and you got all the work that you've gotten was just all through that.
Right, through a talent agency or my own hustle, you know, submitting myself, and you know, did that. Was with Joni for a while. Got with another talent agency, the Raspberry Talent Agency. One of the last things, you know, before I got out of St. Louis and when I was with them. But all of that, you know, is where the audition process laid the groundwork to really take flight in Atlanta when I moved here in 2009. But yeah, I was booking pretty regularly in St. Louis. But even with St. Louis, you know, there's only such big stuff. You know, they got people all shooting for the same thing. So you were going to Chicago a lot, you know what I mean? And it was like, you're going to stay here and take what kind of comes along, or like you said, go to LA, go to New York. But at the time, here was Atlanta just growing like where there was smoke. You know, he's like, my big sister being in the business, I wanted to go to LA. As a matter of fact, Maurice, like stuff in St. Louis, man, life had gotten out of control for me. You know, in St. Louis, like I said, with money, partying, you know, all that turned into a problem if you're not careful. To be honest, you know what I mean? And it became a problem for me. So I had a chance to move from St. Louis, get to Atlanta, and this is like 2007, remember it. Like, you know, I'm ready to get out of here. Mom, dad, sister, ex-girlfriend, anybody.
Somebody help me.
Get me out this mother. I can't tell you how bad. I just need to get out of here. I promise you I'll be good from here on out. I swear to God. It's good that we can, you know, laugh about it now. Yeah, because it's been
so
years.
you pretty much hit Atlanta at the right about the turn of like the Black entertainment mecca. So like you know, I guess Jermaine Dupri got hot around 94. And then so between like 94 and 2000, Atlanta must have been just exploding with everything at that point.
Yeah. Now, I didn't get here till 2009, but I had come to Atlanta. Okay. But being here and knowing the music was there. Like you had, I mean, like LaFace, Pebbles, T-Boz, and I mean TLC, Crisscross, you know, Gucci Mane, not Gucci, Goody Mob, you know, all of them. Ludacris was a DJ, so the music was there from the, you know, 92. LaFace, you can really kind of mark, not that going back to our parents with Gladys Knight and in groups like that, James Brown being from Georgia and whatnot, well, coming from Georgia, South Carolina. But what I'm trying to say is the music was already there. It's when Tyler Perry and that acting kind of linked with the music and Outkast, and now you got better videos, and they getting into TV shows, and Jermaine produced, and that's like 2004, 2005 when the smoke starts to burn, and they make that change with the tax credits, which entice people to come shoot here
and shoot, film there.
Yeah, shoot and film there. And because the city was growing, you know, it's been international for a while because of the airport. And I pick up all this because I'm going on, you know, 10 plus years, 11 plus years here. But, you know, and people will look back and really thank Tyler Perry for what he did, the professionalism, his studios, because if he don't get down here and start making money, and you know how they can be, well, he ain't gonna make all that money. And them tax credits. So they came down here, more people came down here. LA kind of came this way. Wilmington, North Carolina, where a lot of stuff was shot, they lost their tax credit. So a lot of stuff came from Wilmington, believe it or not. Was Atlanta before Atlanta, and it's just grown. And it did. And like I said, my sister told me back in 2007, she was like, "You ought to go to Atlanta." I'm like, "Oh, you know, I'm telling you." Blah blah blah. 2 years later, I came. Some of the best advice I ever got.
So out of the I'm curious about the film. You got film credits and TV credits.
Yeah.
Does one work better for you? Is one more lucrative? Is one easier to do? Do you have a preference?
I like them all, and have grown to love theater more. I used to be like, I don't want to do plays, but since I got here in Atlanta, that's a big part of the acting genre. So I've cut my teeth and really got appreciation for plays. The thing with TV and movies is it just all really depends on what role you happen to get in either one. Because if you're SAG, TV or movie, it's a certain rate that they're going to pay you, period, to be on there. Like with Little, I was considered a day player because I was only going to be so many days. And I think day player, don't quote me on this, I should know this more. And some of the stuff as an actor, I just get the lines, remember them, and hope they pick me. You know what I mean? Like some of the nuances, like, you know, if we're on the set 12 hours, you know what my rate is after that? I'd be like, man, I trust him. The check gonna be right. You know what I mean? But, you know, some of the nuances of it as I go through this. But it just depends on how many days. Now, if you're a regular or recurring role, then you'll get contracted differently. And then that'll be like per episode because you're going to be on there the whole season, 10, 12 episodes. So they can't pay you a day rate. And that's, you know, that would be more. As you hear the stories, I can't, what comes to mind, like Friends, you know what I mean? They got $1 million.
Yeah.
As opposed to me, if I'd have been on there as the doorman for one episode and I was on there 2 days, I would have got paid the SAG rate for 2 days, which is a great rate, but it's not, you're a cast regular. And that varies from different show to different show. Like if you're a regular on Netflix, you won't be making the same amount of money that you are on something else that may be on NBC primetime. But
yeah,
it's all relative, and trust me, it all pays great. So yeah, that's what it is. I don't mind being on either one. When you're a working actor, you know, even when you're a big name, it's, you know, to be thought of, you know, there's hundreds of people that audition for these roles. So whenever you get picked, it's an honor, and you know how special it is, really. Because, yeah, I do a lot more auditions and don't get picked than I do and get picked. So, yeah, fortunate.
How's that? Is the audition process something that's just kind of like baked in for you now? The whole, I'm not going to get all of these, and I've dealt with that, so I don't go through an emotional thing each time. Or how's that working for you?
It is that happens 87% of the time, but there is that like, they didn't pick me. I'm the dad in Little. Are you kidding? But yeah, to be truthful, Joni Tackett, I mentioned her earlier, got me ready for that, being in St. Louis. And, you know, in St. Louis, you know, it was a lot of commercials. I did a lot of commercials in St. Louis. Local, it could have been for the doctor's office or the tire shop. And, you know, they're not all, you know, national. Some of them are regional as well, or local. But yeah, that process, I knew before I got to Atlanta, what it was, what it could be.
You had that to go. Okay.
Yeah, I had that to go. But yeah, there are a few in there that you just be like, oh man, I can't believe they didn't call me. Because you put a lot, but like I said, they come in during the week. You know, you remember them, you do them, and as many as I do, you can't forget about them. I actually forgot Little when I got told that I got it. I didn't even remember. I thought it was another. I got crazy. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, man. So I want to know how you get into the fashion plate, man. Talk about the fashion plate.
So the fashion plate, it started when I left Duncanville High School, like you said, best dressed. I went to Kansas State. I tried to take all my clothes, and my parents were like, "Hey, you know what? This ain't no fashion show. Pack up 2 suitcases, and we'll send some." You know what I mean? Like, there ain't no way. You know what I mean? I had a job at a clothing store instead of restaurant or wherever else we worked as teenagers. So I spent my money on clothes habitually, discount. That's where just like about all my money went. So I get to K-State, and I didn't know, like in college, that you went in sweats, or you know what I mean? That's how you kind of went to class. Like nobody put on Genera pants, a button-up Union-based shirt.
Genera, wow.
They're black boots.
Yeah.
Leather bomber jacket. What?
Yeah.
I'm stopped. They looking like, I come to the, and the whole, you know what I mean? Like every day I'm in my, dorm room.
But that was the craziest part. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing the same thing, man. I guess I arrived too late.
Yeah, man. I'm in class, and the thing about it is, once I stopped going to class I'm hanging out, library, student union, in and out of class. I'm up there flossing in clothes and stuff. You know what I mean? So a couple older guys on the team, some seniors, were like, he a little fashion plate. You know what I'm saying? I always stay dressed up like, hey, freshman, why you always wearing your good clothes? I'm like, what you mean? This is
good clothes.
Like, where you from? You know what I mean?
So
like freshman fashion.
So the funny thing about that is that my wife is from California.
Yeah.
And I show her pictures from us. Moss and I were at the Skyline, probably the same time you were at Duncanville.
Exactly.
And I show her pictures of us in suits, and she was like, "What were y'all doing? Like, that's how we went to school.
That's how you're supposed to dress.
We didn't know any better. That's how we went to school. We went to school in suits. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's what we did. We didn't sag. We dressed nice.
Right.
Really wear with the with the collar back. You know what I'm saying? When you wore the really way, like you unbutton like 4 buttons and you push that ball back with some shorts and some Eastlands, boy, sit out. Cut it out. Timberlands, what about the Eastlands, bro? What you know about them?
Right.
And so that's where it started. And then, like I said, it became the boy wonder in St. Louis. And like I said, man, came to Atlanta, fresh start, new start, loved the whole boy wonder part of my career, life, you know what I mean? But dusted off the fashion plates and started branding it. Christopher Martin, the fashion plate. And it's just stuck. It's worked. People in Atlanta know me by that, thanks to the show, the ATL Profile, Entertainment Tonight show that really put me on the map here in Atlanta. Shout out to Steve and all the crew, Julius, for everything they did. And we had a good run with that show. Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me about silent disco. How did you get involved with that?
Silent disco. I just happen to have a pair of headphones right here.
Right. So the first time, the first time I ever.
Is that the name of the company too?
Silent. I like that T-shirt, man. We got to do a T-shirt exchange.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is
The,
I like that.
You know what? Say it again, because my business partners be wondering about. I don't know if that will mention
That's a
You
cool
No,
shirt.
that's pretty
you lucky,
fresh.
Jonathan.
That's a
Yeah.
pretty fresh T-shirt.
Yeah.
But
So
the first time I ran across a silent disco, I think
yeah.
I was watching something on it was probably Jazzy Jeff's Final Destination, and he was doing this party where they had the silent, and he was DJing, and everybody had on headphones, and I was just freaked out by the whole thing. And then I thought, damn, that's cool. That's got to be a whole lot of fun. And
It's
so I haven't had the opportunity to go to one yet, but tell me about yours and how you got involved with it.
Michael, Sheldon, Maurice, I'm telling you, you have got to get one. So I found out about it in 2016. Business partner, one of my eternal friends that I've met here in Atlanta, Captain Make It Happen, a guy named Jonathan Cologne, just one of my get money partners, just a dude who knows what to do, an event planner. Known him for some years, actually met him on a shoot we were doing for the ATL Profile, like 2012. We formed a friendship, and from there. So 2016, I never will forget, he says, hey man, this is December 2016, the end of the year. He's like, hey man, I bumped into something new. He said, you're gonna love it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is it? He's like, just let me get it together. He said, be ready to go in the spring of 2017. Sure as you know what stinks. He hits me in March. In April, I go to the first silent disco, and he was calling it Hush Hush Disco. People call it little, variations of the name, silent parties, Hush Hush Disco. We finally branded and put silent disco as what we do. And found out about it, the headphones, and they got 3 different colors. You can switch. Blue, wait a minute, red, green, and I happen to have a sticker. I got mine branded. We also brand as well. You put your logo or your event on the headphones.
Well, that's cross marketing. Is that what that's
Yeah.
called? What is that, guy? That's some complex stuff right there.
Right. That's what they pay me to do. So I get me a pair and figure out that you've got 3 different stations of music, and it's all in your ears. It's literally but nobody can hear anything. And from there, Jonathan soon bumped into a guy. He was doing this himself, renting the equipment, and we were doing like pub crawls, going from place to place with the headphones. He bumped into a great guy named Costello in New York, who owns Sound Off Silent Disco, and we jumped in with him. Jonathan got the South Market, Atlanta, what am I trying to say? Southeast region, forgive me. So all of Florida, North Carolina, we just, went to so many different events. And you got to do it because of the 3 different types of music. And the people who really do it right, like us, have 3 distinct styles of music. So we have hip hop, 80s, 90s today, and we'll either do EDM or Latin or ska or something, of that genre. But when you got 3 hip hop stations, you don't get to change. So what I mean, and get out of a different style of music. And you can have live DJs. You can have 3 different DJs. So you've got a box. I don't have one handy, but anyway, you've got the transmitter, and it's kind of like the Atari, aging myself, or Xbox,
PlayStation.
He said TikTok.
Wait, they were like Atari. What did he say? But that's how those were configured for the TV, so you can play the game on the TV. These were made to fit into the equipment, so you can disperse the music. So it transmits a signal, and these headphones have a receiver in it that receives the sound. And you can use iPads, any kind of music source. It's really easy, man. In the wake of COVID-19, we've taken a hit. People have had to cancel, and we get that. But looking for all this to go away and get back to partying. So me and Jonathan and another great guy named Simon Rimmer, Simon and Jonathan bumped into each other. We had kind of not outgrown, but it was time for us. Castell was way up there. He understood. We really grew the business down here. It was just time for us to like have our own headphones, do our own thing. We come up with Silence, silenceactivations.com to check us out. Silence Activations on Instagram and Facebook as well. Check us out, man, and really get a better idea of all the things we can do outside of like discos or silent yoga, silent fitness. We branched out with Simon in December, and things were really rolling great. I was actually supposed to be in Charlotte for a big festival here at the end of the month, but that's on ice. But these things are, they're not, well, I shouldn't, how can I say this? They're affordable because you can actually have your own music. Like if you three got, you know, Psychomusiclyricology, you guys got a ton of music. So it could be your iPad, his phone, and his computer that plays your music, and you guys are up and running, and you might just have to pay for equipment. There's so many ways to do it. It's a great time. And one more thing, and I'll shut up about it, let you guys ask any more questions, is the older people are the ones who really have an appreciation because we have more music knowledge. You know what I mean? I can play a lot of hip hop because, you know, even though you might not listen to Roddy Ricch or whoever the god dang mumbler or rapper that is, whatever they say.
Right.
So, but you can also tap into Public Enemy all through my hip hop station. You know what I mean? You know Madonna and Prince, but you also know Jeremiah. You can appreciate that and everything in between.
Right.
Where you know, and they do know some old stuff, but yeah, the older people over 40 have so much fun with this.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
is it just a rental, or you can buy them? You can do like a.
We bought ours because we're a business, and I tell people, if you rent them, that's basically how it is. There's a set number for, you know, a package, you know, like anything. You may have the how can I say it, like the silver package, the gold package, the platinum package. Well, we got that same kind of stuff with Silence for whatever you're trying to look for. So there's a rental on them. It depends. You may want to rent them and then throw Michael Nelson's 30th birthday party. and then charge people, you know, $10, $15 to come in. They get the headset. You may have paid $5.65 a headphone, and you mark it up. Or you may just want to throw a party, and we give you that rate. But if you're buying to look and do business, much like anything else, has become a little saturated since we got into it, because people see it as like it's easy. But you got to realize, man, you got to be out there hustling them. You know what I mean? And now that the people have options, when Castell got into it some years back, we just happened to bump into him in 2000. What Jonathan did in 2016. In 2017, and brought me along. He's been in it for a while. It actually started overseas in Israel. They had the noise ordinance, and the guy developed and that's why it's really, or the whole thing about it is to keep the noise down. You couldn't have the loud music in clubs late night. So if you were to buy them, they're not, you know, you buy them wholesale. They come over from overseas. There's not an American manufacturer of them, but you need to have a plan. You know what I mean? If you just get them and think it's going to be, you're going to turn money on it. Yeah, you do want, or if you know that you have a club or a spot where you can throw, you know, a silent, you know, like a First Friday silent party. Because a lot of people, we bumped into people and we rent them from them. They thought that they could start the business and just see, you know, it didn't work out like they want, but you can still make money because generally somebody like us or Quiet Events, our competitor, or Sound Off, our partner company, will want to rent them from you because they have a 2,000 headphone event but have 1,500 in stock. But if Michael Nelson has them, I need to rent 500 from you, and they'll put the sticker, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. So just some stuff,
Okay.
if you ever pursue it, they are.
No, I was just wondering. I was really just wondering how y'all did it. If y'all were, just if y'all sold them, or if you just if y'all were just doing rentals.
Yeah, we're primarily rental. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we don't sell them like that. Yeah. But
yeah, man. Go ahead, Mike. Hello.
Looks like Mike froze.
Yeah, he must be
screen
froze.
looks like it froze.
No,
he's just really just holding that position.
But anyway, man. Hey, but since Mike is off here, talk to us, man. How this movie Little, and you got the role of playing Jordan Sanders' father.
You talking about this movie?
That movie right there, man. you working with Regina Hall and Issa Rae, and I'm like, what's up with that, man? Because I'm like, Kristen get the big screen for real.
Yeah. Hey, Regina. Boy, y'all should have seen her at the premiere, my God.
Yeah. She looks good all the time.
Woo! Man, so good. Issa Rae, look, is beautiful. Beautiful. I can't even describe. She had on like this gold-like tint makeup, like she speckled. And like she had like a ponytail and then like this plunging like one piece. I was like, damn, like you do not look like that in the movie or on Insecure at all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, where you like, yes, it's a ring. So, as we go back a little bit, it is funny. Actually, a year ago yesterday, I was at the premiere in Los Angeles for the movie. So it's funny that we're doing this right now. I did the audition for Little, taped it like any normal one, came through my Actors Access file, audition, Little, Will Packer movie, Lil Jordan's dad. Go to my girl, Shay Mack. Shout out to Shay Mack, an actress. You can catch her on DC Comics as Driller Bill, super villain. Love you, Shay. She tapes all my auditions, primarily like 99.9% of them. So I had went and taped Little, it in, and then like 4 or 5 days later, I had an in-person audition for a commercial at Stillwell Casting here in Atlanta. Shout out to Brian Beagle and Stillwell Casting. I've gotten a lot of work for them. Call me. So I go do the audition. So like Little was on like a Wednesday, and then that audition for the commercial was like on a Monday of the next week. And then like Friday of that week, I get a call from the talent agency. Now, I'm with BYSB Talent Agency. Shouting out everybody. Christopher Young, Tay Smith, Maria Turner. One of the best moves I ever made was signing with them back in 2017. Eternally love them. So I get the call from Tay, and when you in the business, when you see that talent agency call, you like, oh shit. Oh. They just don't call to check on you like, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? They call us like, you put something, you didn't send that tape in, or it's something about money. Like they just, it's not great people, we're friends, but you just don't call and talk to your talent. So forgive me, Georgia police, Atlanta police, so we got a no hands rule, but I see the phone, I'm like, that's Tay. I'm like, Like, hey, what's going on? He was like, I got some news for you. I'm like, what? I'm driving through Atlanta traffic. He was like, you booked something, man. I was like, and my mind is, I just did that commercial. I was like, commercial for Stillwell? He was like, I was like, what? I'm thinking like, I'm driving like Little. Everything I love. I was like, Little? What are you talking about? I'm like, what you mean? He goes, Chris, the Will Packer movie. You booked the dad. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, hold on. I pulled that mug over. I'm in my speaker. I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I'm calling the he said, you going to be on the big screen. I was like, it's over.
That's big time. Big time.
Will, Jada, I'm coming to holler at you. Sly Stallone, baby. Loved you in Rocky. Good. I was through the moon. And Tay tells the story. I've seen him, obviously, going to the office. And y'all was like, man, if you could have seen how I looked at the phone when you were like, little, what was that? He was like, so, you know, shout out to the, you know, just the process.
Right.
Once I found out about it, checked my availability. Soon after that, went for fitting. You know, treated like a king. You know, once you book one of these things like that, like you step on that ladder, you know, that's set, you know, for anything, they paying you. So I got paid for the fitting. You know, went and got what they put me in. You got the script, you know what I mean? Got in the email, so I'm seeing scripts every day. And then that first day came to be on the set, man. And, you know, I've done a lot of TV. I've done a few films, mainly independent. One motion picture before this, and it actually became an HBO film back in the day, Soul of the Game. Like, shot that in St. Louis, HBO film. It's supposed to be big screen, ended up going HBO here or there. But definitely was awesome. Got to meet Marsai Martin, being her dad in the movie. I was like, oh, I'm going to be in the movie. People were like, well, you know, sometimes, nah, bro, there's no way. There's just no way. You know what I mean? Like, sure enough, got to meet her, talk to her about how the whole thing came. And if you followed the story as the movie came, she wrote the movie.
She was like an executive producer, right?
Like, and when you are in her company, you be like, yeah, she a little prodigy. Like you can sense the talent, the maturity, as much as she was a little girl or a teenager.
And from Dallas.
From Dallas, look.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
her parents,
yeah.
Look. So her last name is Martin. My last name. Well, look, when her dad came on set the second day, her mom was there the first day. When her dad came second day of set, I cracked all of them up. I was like, my brother!
I was like, hey, cuz.
Oh, my life, God. And here we meet. I'm the father of your daughter on the set. I was like, you know, us Martins, we got to stick together. Like, who the fuck is this?
Right.
Bro, what you talking about? Martins, man. Cut me in or cut it out. You know, Dallas told him about Dunkerville, man, and built a really great friendship with her dad, a super great guy. I mean, her family, awesome. She's the oldest, and could see, you know, whatever, you know, that they had obviously fallen into this with her on Blackish, but, you know, for her to have wrote a movie, you know, got it from Will Packer, you know, she sold it, you know what I mean? Like, it was a process because she had wrote it and she was trying to tell her parents about it. And the story go, her parents were like, you working on Blackish, like, okay.
Yeah,
you know
leave that.
Yeah, like, study your lines. Like, we get, you know what I mean? And she went to somebody on Blackish, like, look, like, and they the one who got in touch with Will Packer. And Will, when he got the call, and this was last year, they were telling the story because I went to LA, Inglewood, and this old time theater, dude, that was redone. Like, we sat in chairs like this and watched the movie like it was out of the 1940s. Just, it was sick. I was like, oh my God, you know, the drapes, tapestry in Atlanta, is crazy. But he's telling the story because all of them came up and talked before she before she said her speech, and I'll tell you the speech, and at the end that just broke that house down. So Will tells a story that this person got in contact, like, hey man, this is the script that you want to look at from the girl on Blackish, and the girl on Blackish wrote it. He was like, the teenager, what's her name? You know, he's thinking it's the oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? Whatever her name is.
Yeah, I can't think of her name right now.
When she spun up on Grownish.
Yeah.
Yahari Shahidi.
Yes, he thinks it's her that wrote the movie. He's telling the story. They were like, no, it's the little one that's playing. Like, man, if you don't get out of here, man, like, you bring in a kid. I ain't got no time to read no coloring book. You know what I'm saying? They were like, I'm telling you, no, I've talked to her, blah, 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 and pushed it on him to really, like, you know, read it, brought her in there. He said the first meeting, that was it. Deals got done, and next thing you know, the rest is history. So I went out, walked the blue carpet, had a chance to talk to Access Hollywood, Entertainment Tonight, you know, like anybody else. They were like, little Jordan's dad coming down to the carpet. And because I was Marsai's dad in the film, it makes, you know, I only made it on USA Today, put a blurb of me and the mom, the young lady who played my wife, shout out to Nora Victoria, out in Los Angeles, a very acclaimed actress in her own right. But because we were on set with the star, they wanted our interaction. So it was great. It fucked everybody. It was awesome. The after party, after the movie. But let me tell you, so Marsai is the last one to talk. Regina comes out and talks.
I know, right? I already know, man. I'm gonna leave that right there.
I'm serious, like, man, and you know, with all respect, you know, we men, but you know, people married, whatnot. But I was like, to see her in person was like, this is not a game. Like, she is gorgeous, man, gorgeous. I didn't get a chance to talk to her or whatever, but just see her, like, dang, you look good in person. Little and just, she's muscular, she's built. You know, of course, they make her up and, you know, got the best of everything, but she looked just immaculate that night. And Issa Rae, too. So all of them come off well, and then they finally give the microphone to the star of the night, Marsai. And she's talking. And she's a little kid, and she's just walking, and you kind of got to get up and see her because she's a little bit littler than everybody. And she's just holding court, thanking people and her parents, and you can hear a pin drop. So she gets to the end, and she's like, so you guys, you know, the movie is about to come on, and, you know, sooner or later, it's going to come to DVD, and it'll be available. And she said, can y'all just do one thing? And everybody's like, right, like, what is the little kid? She's like, please don't bootleg my movie. Just don't bootleg my shit. I said, just don't bootleg it. I said, man, we died laughing. Don't bootleg my movie. Don't bootleg my movie. Man, we died laughing. And so,
that's hilarious.
And that's where, you know what I mean? And like, I knew from what my scene was, and I mean, it started, and I was like, I just sat back, and I was next to Nori. Now, one of our scenes got cut, and that was like a little bit more of her scene in there. So, and I, you know what I mean? So I'm all in the movie, and as soon as I see myself, I'm like, shit. You know what I mean? It's right there, like, oh my God. And then it goes to another scene, and blah, blah, blah. And she had a line in there. I was like, did you see it? Did you see it? And she was like, yes.
You were featured a little more than I was, so I'm not even excited.
Like, yeah, but I'm ready. Some things ain't changed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Black to the end. Man, I'm taking something in there with me, bro.
Yeah.
Suburbs, ghetto families, how does that work?
Yeah,
but yeah, man, at a party then. We went to the after party in STK, Los Angeles. drinks, food, lobster, steak. I'm like, we get out the movie. It's like a 7 o'clock showing. Get out the movie. You know, by the time we get, I went out there, flew out there, got me a hotel, caught up with Nori, who lives in LA. The young lady played my wife. Man, we get up there like 10 o'clock, and they got like full food, like it's 4 or 5 in the eat. I'm like, who's gonna eat all this steak, all this heavy ass food? I know, me, bro. Hey, kid, Maurice.
That's what you're supposed to do when it's free, man.
Right.
Hey.
Had a ball, man. Had a ball. Real feel fortunate. Got some great pictures. Met some great people. And just really feel blessed and fortunate as I'm sitting here clowning and stuff. But it was a great time. Great time.
That sounds great, man. That sounds like a major achievement for you. What's on the horizon for you? What's next?
Great question. Again, in the wake of COVID, I booked a TV show, Postal.
Hey, your sound just went out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I had a call come in. A new show called Postal, and it's what it is. It deals with the post office and the workers. Not sure really where network TV show, auditioned for it right before I came to Dallas, Fort Worth, and found out that I booked it and was going to start shooting on the 7th. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
With everything going on, it's been postponed. So would love to figure out more about that. Waiting for that to get started. Also, this movie that I shot, actually, once I booked Little, right behind that, I shot this movie, All That Matters, a feature film where I played the lead character named Jay. And shout out to Al Robbins and his wife Charlene, the writers and the producer of it. I also did another film with them some years back here in Atlanta. He's really helped my career. A couple films too, a short with him as well. Believes in my acting skills and told me, like, didn't have to audition for this. And it's one of the great things about building relationships in this business.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of like, I want you to be the leading man. And this was God dog.
Popular, man.
Hey, what'd you say? Y'all would have hired me since I'm at home.
Right. No.
I get all the calls now since I'm at home.
All the calls. So got off the set of Little about 3 weeks later. Do this film. We shot it almost 3 weeks here in Atlanta. All That Matters, like I said, leading man. He said, this is a Denzel, Brad Pitt. You know what I mean? It all revolves around your character. You know, got the script, 90 pages. I'm on every one. You know, and I've been the lead in a play, but you know, and been, you know, had some meaty roles in the TV pieces that I've gotten. Lead characters, one with the Homicide Hunter on the ID channel. But you know, to be a lead in a movie and that kind of range of emotion and what every actor really wants to do is to take a character and, you know, watch him evolve, him evolve, whatever,
Right.
to watch it and be able to move and become a person, and bring that to the screen and show range and, you know, just the challenge, as well as, you know, make a film. So it finally came to pass where it's out now. And again, COVID-19 reared its ugly head. It was going to be released, and Al asked me not to say where it's going to be streamed, but it is going to be streamed. But once Bayview Entertainment, our distributor, shout out to them in Los Angeles, who are caught up in this. And partly the reason now it's available at Walmart, online, the DVD, you can order it. I'm on Instagram at C Martin ATLP. Hit the link in my bio, and you can order it. Now it won't ship till June, but they want it. You know, they had, I guess, lack of a better word, contractually, or gave their word to Al, it would be out. And this is the way to, you know, put the film out before it gets streamed, and you'll be able to see it that way too. Yeah, like you see them, you know, I'm one of the faces on the DVD cover. I mean, it's wild. It's wild to know that you're just out there, and soon it's gonna be in Walmart. You know, it'll ship, and just be able to walk down the aisle and be like, well, god dang, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That photo shoot was awesome. Some great actresses. Pamela Ricardo from season 1 of The Quad on BET. Some other great shows. Monietta Shaw, a socialite, and she made Swing on Me, but Neo's ex-wife wrote a book about her and Neo and how they work together as a family. Classy. Great looking woman, let me say that first of all, but a great spirit, awesome person, and just talent galore in the film. We were shown at the Peachtree Film Festival. We were one of the last finalists for the best film category, a prestigious film festival, Peachtree Village Film Festival here in Atlanta. Shout those people out. A lot of great networking films, talent, actors come through there. And on the last night, we didn't win, but we were one of the, you know, picked in the. So we had a clip shown of our film, which was primarily me. I didn't go to the closing ceremonies, but you know, when your name is bouncing, people calling you, like you up on the screen, you know, it's nice. And like I said, man, as much fun as I have with this, and you see it on my social media, and I'm clowning, man. Stuff is work, you know, it is. And I tell people, it's just not about remembering the lines. You know what I mean? You gotta act. You gotta put some feeling. You gotta tap into something, whatever that is. And like I said, to see the success coming here over the last 5-6 years, and to land some of this stuff and be working is really a blessing.
Yeah, man. But you know, Chris, man, you know, I just want to say thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
Absolutely,
you know,
appreciate
because
it.
man, you have, like, you know, I knew a lot about your story because we kind of chopped it up a little bit, but you know, I want to know more.
That's what's up, man.
You know, because you know it had been so long, it's like you disappeared and you came back. You know, and I follow you on social media, so you know I'm all caught up with you because you know you I swear I think you got a company behind you, but it's all you doing the social media, man, because your stuff is on point though. But hey man, leave our listeners your social media information on top of that.
Absolutely. If you want to shoot me a friend request or follow me, look for me on Facebook at the ATL Fashion Plate. Put that in the search engine and I'll pop up. I also got a like page on Facebook, which is C Martin, the Fashion Plate. And then on Instagram and Twitter, it's C Martin, the letter C, Martin, ATLP for each one of those. And I appreciate that on the social media. I just try to post stuff, put things up that, you know, I think will resonate with people. Not a super hard pusher of it, but yeah, definitely on it and know what it means to the career. So anybody who follows me or engages with me, I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Before we go, give me that famous line, man.
Christopher Martin, the Fashion Plate. You dead.
Well, there you have it. There you have it, man. The Fashion Plate.
Thanks for coming, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you again, man.
We sure appreciate you coming through, man.
No problem, man. Just to wrap it up right quick, man, thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to come on Psychomusiclyricology. I appreciate you. To anybody out there doing this or anything else, man, just put your might into it. You got to appreciate hard work. Nothing comes to a dreamer. You got to put the work in, and you'll see the fruits of your labor as long as you stay true to yourself, man. Appreciate you guys.
Right on, man.
All right.
As always, want to thank you for listening to Psychomusiclyricology. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, rate, review, and listen to Psychomusiclyricology on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Psychomusiclyricology, and we can be contacted at psychomusiclyricology@gmail.com, or hit us up 469-606-9534. Until the next time, peace.
Peace. Chris, man, that was impressive, man.
Hey, man, that was a great show.
Wait a minute, hold on, I lost